Hey y'all, it's Michael, and today I'm here to talk about another book for my year of Morrison. Today I'm going to talk about her second book, Sula, which is my third one from where I read. Yeah, because I keep thinking. She wrote Sula in 1973, so 3 years after The Bluest Eye. Sula is about two friends, Nell and Sula. They grow up in this town called The Bottoms, which is interesting because obviously Morrison's gonna have some sort of symbolism behind it. But it's really interesting because while it's called the bottoms, it's actually on top of the hill. Like it's not actually at the bottom. And it's a really interesting. You can actually really dissect that thought about, especially about African American. That name was actually given to the person who founded the city. It was told by a white man that you should go all the top of the hill because it's like the best place, but it wasn't really. I thought that was like a really interesting like little nugget. So we mainly follow Nell and Sula as they go about their lives. The story jumps around and we go several years actually passing as we follow these two girls. I like the relationship between Nell and Sula because it really is one of those things where it talks about nurture versus nature type of dichotomy, and how these two girls, they grow up differently and they end up really differently, and it's great seeing how their relationship grows over the year, especially all of the events that happen to them, especially some of the secondary characters are crazy. Oh my god, it's so crazy. But I really did enjoy all of the characters. They were so intriguing. Also, another topic that I really enjoyed that was brought up is this idea of liking your child and loving your child. And this was so interesting to me because low key, I'm gonna be so honest with y'all, I feel this way. Not with children, because the only other kids I know, the only other like little kid I know is like my niece. But how, not even with children, but with like family members, how you can, obviously I love my family, but I'm gonna be so honest with y'all, some of them I don't like. And I think that is okay. It is okay to love your family because they are a part of you, but let's be honest, you're not gonna like every single one of them. Especially Eva, and her relationship with all her children, Plum especially, and how Plum has this expectation of him as a black man, um, in this in this in this in this world. I was just like, oh, that's so interesting. But I thought that really jumped out at me about loving and the difference between loving and liking your family members. It feels to me like within always these small towns that there's always a person that doesn't fit the mold, and it's like almost a recluse. And I find that really interesting because there's this house in our neighborhood here. It's really mysterious. Like, it was boarded up for a really long time, and it had like crosses on the like where the boards were. So, and whenever we passed by it as a kid, I haven't passed by it in quite a while actually, but whenever we passed by it as a kid, it it was like weird to me. Sula kind of fit to this too because she, to the others, the other village, the other town folks, she doesn't fit in, even though she grew up in there. She grew up as a kid, in in uh in that town. There's also this thing about like escaping your town, because in my town there's always people that talk about like, oh, this place is not good, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, that type of thing. I'm gonna be so honest with y'all, Atlanta is not the place for me because I am not a city person. I am just not. Point blank, period. I'm not a city person. Will your situation change? Again, this is the topic of like nurture versus nature. Will your situation change because you go to a new city? Um, or is it more of like a mindset? Because even if you are going from a small town to like a big city, your mindset like automatically changes because you're in this big city. It's like, ooh, a big city. But even if you're in a small town and like let's say your mind your mind changes to be more like optimistic or whatnot. I think that's like a really interesting thing to talk about. Now let's talk about Morrison's writing. I thought here her writing is just as strong as it is in The Bluest Eye. And what I wanted more from this book is essentially more. It's like one of those things where it's great, like within this short amount of time. It's a pretty short book, that Morrison is able to give this story, and her storytelling is just so strong. But she's able to give this great storytelling within this short amount of time. But I wanted more. I wanted more expansion, because while even the books, while we do have these time jumps, I wanted more information, because there were some things that I wanted. It didn't feel as fleshed out, especially some of the events that happened after like real major events. While I really do enjoy Morrison's writing, there are some parts where I had to reread again, and there were some parts that I was just like, huh? Like it took me a second and I had to reread again. And I think it was because the way she explained some things. I know I'm being really vague, but I don't want to I don't want to give away the stuff. But the way she explained some things, it was a little bit too. Maybe that was just me as a reader, but I didn't feel as though like she should have explained it a little bit more. There are little nuggets of Morrison's other works, like her other. She talks about like other. I wouldn't say characters, but she talks about other themes that are in her other novels. Since I've only read through, this is the only third book this year, but it's really interesting seeing all of these connections in her writing. It still feels like Morrison, like especially in the Tar Baby, like how it's, I wouldn't say evolving, but it's definitely growing. This was published in 1973, and The Bluest Eye was in 1970, so 3 years, and you could well, not you, I could see her growth in her writing. It's like this is like, yeah, this, she took basically what made The Bluest Eye, in my opinion, she took what made The Bluest Eye like the really, like the best parts, and really honed in on it, because there's a lot of topics and themes, and just like her style of writing, that's really, you can see it here in Sula. Like it's one of the themes that she really does hone on in is the relationship of women to each other, not in particular African American women in relationship to other African American women, because there's always this, even in Tar Baby too, but especially in The Bluest Eye, but here in Sula, is you can really see how these relationship between these women and how they interact with each other. Like obviously Nell and Sula, how their relationship is really their friendship is just, it's all over the place to say the least. The relationship with Eva and Hannah, I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted like that relationship to, I could have just taken a whole book between those two. I was like, whoa, lit. Figuratively and literally. So yeah, if you read Sula, I would love to hear your thoughts. Go all in, go off on the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. So the next book I'm reading is Book of Solomon, and I'm really interested in this because this is a book that a lot of Morrison fans consider like one of their favorites. So I'm really excited for that. So yeah, until then, I'll see you guys till later. Bye. The flowers, they're so pretty. They're really pretty, and it's cold.